restart I had paused it. Shoot. Um, including anyone on and groups. That's a great idea. And I know so the village improvement that is where we run the money through. All the donations go to the village improvement, which is a nonprofit. People can get a tax write-off, and then the expenses are paid out of there. And they did contribute the first year, and then
Right
again
now it's just a pass through them though, right?
no. They gave several thousand the first year, and I believe several thousand the second year, and they're like,
Okay.
yeah, but we don't want to do it every year. So I think I didn't ask them the third year, and this is the fourth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
20, 21, 22. This is 23. Yep. Yep. So they weren't super excited about it being ongoing. However, they do fund a lot of things like flowers that need to be planted every season. So this is kind of an ongoing village
Right.
vacation. So I will definitely revisit that. I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Right. And maybe like, again, like as we go into, because I keep hearing from different places like, oh, we can't do things because we haven't committed it for this year. So like one of the businesses that I was talking to about helping to fund that, she said that I have to apply early next year to their business to be considered for it, so that they have the funds to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And also like for some the local banks like Union Savings, like they have corporate that you need months in advance to get.
That's the one that I was talking about. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I was because I was kind of lamenting about this to my husband. He's like, "What about the banks?" And I was like, yeah, we kind of missed the boat on that one, but we can get it in now for next year possibly or soon,
Right.
Yeah. So earlier is key. I agree.
And then I know that we had talked about how it made sense to leave the lights in the trees. Does it still make sense with that?
Believe it or
Like I
not,
just
it does. I know, even though we're replacing a lot of them, um, the labor is still more expensive than the lights. And if I have to go up and take them down and then
yeah.
fold them up and store them and then try to put them back in, and some of them are going to be damaged anyway. So I take them down. So we're only in the tree once a year and we just do what we can as we go. It's still much less expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it seems kind of crazy. Plus, I don't know where I would store them all. I only have so much room in my office.
Right,
And
right.
right, they're already fluffed out, so like you can't you can squish them and then refluff. I mean, it's interesting. What we're doing, and I was talking with the arborist today because he was kind of bummed too. We're get with each tree, we try to get smarter about making sure there's less breakage, and he's gonna try to start zip tying. The cord that it comes with is very weak. The cords
Mm-hmm.
they put in the tree are like a thick extension cord, and the ones on the fixtures themselves are these really skinny, and they just rip as soon as it starts swinging in the wind. So they're gonna try to secure that in a better way. So we'll see. They still are only supposed to last about 3 years, 3 seasons,
Right.
either way, like the bulb part. Um, but if the cord gets yanked right out, it it doesn't matter. But they're also trying to fix the ones that are salvageable. So we're putting in new ones, recycling the ones that we can fix. The electricians are splicing new adapt connectors onto them. So
Good.
yeah, yeah, good. Some great thoughts there, everybody. Thank you. All right, moving along. Are any other questions?
I just wanted to make a comment, Michelle. I mean, I think all of this speaks to the need for some sort of a committee, and the recognition is that this is something that it's a town project every year, and it requires new work and replacement work, and that it's not something that's a one thing and done. And I think that, we may have been going along with the illusion that the bulk of it could be done in the first year, and then we could enjoy the benefits and add trees, but that's not the case. It's a maintenance project as well as a creation project.
Thanks, Fran. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yes. All right. Moving on, there was only one other, two things I wanted to mention. I think it was last week, I went to the Western Connecticut tourism meeting. I brought some handouts, but nobody's here in person. And I just wanted to let you know that, so CT Visit is the state's tourism program. They get a lot of money. They spend a lot of money. They've got advertising in New York and Massachusetts. They run ad campaigns, and Julia is going to talk more about this, but I just wanted to point out that so Western Connecticut is all of Western Connecticut all the way down to Greenwich. So it's a little weird because it's just so different. You know, it's over these three areas: Litchfield Hills, Naugatuck Valley, and Fairfield County. So we're very diverse. But in this Western Connecticut pamphlet that they put together, there are only a few pages in it, but we were in here. I should have bookmarked it. Oh, where were we? Here we go. Mac Costa is in there, which is nice. So I just wanted to let you know that because there are, oh, I forget, I have in my notes how many towns, but they only have a handful, like maybe 12 to 15 pictures for these 30 towns, and we're one of them. So the visibility that we get through Explore is picked up by CT Visit, and then it gets us a lot more exposure. And on that note too, Julia might be sharing this, but in the Connecticut Magazine, this is the October issue. It's a beautiful picture. So they had like one per county of what they put together, sort of like a little fall tour. And so the opening picture is Hidden Valley, but then the next two pages go on to highlight restaurants and the inn and the bookstore. It just it's great. So we got a lot of visibility there. Also, I forgot, I spoke, I think it was this last month, at a Steep Rock just had a large purchase of land, and they had with some grants and some other stuff, and they had a very nice ceremony here in Town Hall, and I spoke at that, and it was interesting. Brian Hagenbach, who's the executive director of Steep Rock, and I've spoken many times about what a draw Steep Rock is for economic development. I mean, the pictures that come out of there are stunning. People come from all over to hike in Steep Rock, and we know they're stopping for a cup of coffee or for lunch or to go shopping. They're coming right through our town. So it's good for us to remember what a draw Steep Rock is. It's one of our huge, an asset to our town. All right, the only other thing I'm going to mention, and we're going to go to Julia, is that Martin Luther King Day is January 15th. It is a day of service, and for multiple years in the past, we've had we've called it Washington Gives, and we have worked on different ways to give back. And I'm going to be working with the Judy Black Park on this event. What we've done in the past is highlighted all our nonprofits as opportunities for volunteerism. So it's a really great way for them all to get some exposure here in town, to talk about what they do and to try to recruit some volunteers, and for people in town to try to connect to the nonprofits. And in the past, I mean, I worked on this as a selectman. I feel it falls under this umbrella. My job is sort of a little bit of everything, but when we think about community development, our nonprofits are such an important part of who we are as a community. Steep Rock being one of the big ones, but all of our arts organizations, which are huge for our economic development. I just think I see a lot of tie-in. I think it's really important, and I think helping put this event together to highlight our nonprofits and the opportunities for volunteerism in our community is really important. So I just wanted to let you know that'll be in January, and because of the holidays, we're starting planning now. That is it. Does anyone have questions for me before we move on to our new business? All right, we have no old business unless somebody can think of anything, but I think you would have already asked me. So Julia doesn't need much introduction. I think you have all heard from Julia before, but here's Julia from Explore. She's going to be sharing the metrics on how the website and the other social media has been going. And just so you all know, Julia usually comes twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall, just to kind of keep us up to date on how Explore is doing and what our metrics are looking like. So that's it.
It's Michelle, and thank you, everyone. I know it's such a crazy busy week, so with cooking and making travel plans, so thank you for coming. And I'll go through the slides pretty quickly, and then share them so you can look at them in more detail. But so let me share my screen.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I gotta make
No problem.
I forgot. I would have done that.
It's okay.
All right, there you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Well, let me find it real quick. All right. Let me just go to the top, and everyone can see that now, right? I'll just make it larger. So what I'll do is I'll go through some of the press mentions first, and then we'll go right into the social media metrics, and then we'll go into the website metrics. It's a little different this time. I mentioned to Michelle with the metrics because Google Analytics went through a huge overhaul and everything's different now, and they got rid of the old data and the reports look completely different. So the point is that it's going to look a little bit different, but we tried to put the same data sets together so we can do our comparisons. But you may notice something different. Now, one of the exciting press mentions we got, and lately the press mentions that have the most impact are the online, perhaps websites, blogs that may not be as popular as Yankee Magazine and Connecticut Magazine, but we get picked up a lot from these, I would say smaller, but pretty fierce online presences, like this one called Elite Daily, which quite honestly, I had never heard of. It has a lot of pop culture things and travel, and it's a very young, hip sort of magazine. Anyway, they have 3.6 million followers on Instagram, so obviously they're popular. And they contacted us to do a day in the depot, the Real Stars Hollow story. And it turns out that the writer came to town and took some pictures and wrote about she did a full itinerary. I think she went into every single shop in the depot. It was great. And then we also sent her a bunch of photos that we had taken, and she put together this really cool article, and that was published in October on the 18th, and it got a lot of links and clicks over to the website. So we saw the traffic from this come through, and this will live online forever. So that's the beauty of that type of thing. She went through the depot and she did a step-by-step itinerary. 10 o'clock, do this, 10:30, do it. So it's pretty cool and fun to work with. And then she also did this Instagram post, which got 8,900 likes just for this one post in the favorite scene that seems to be the go-to Instagram shot. So yeah, this was a big surprise because we weren't sure how much exposure it was going to get. And it grows. I mean, people keep finding it and liking it. And that's the beauty of the online presence. And she has 64,000 followers on Instagram. So she promoted it on her own personal Instagram account as well as on the magazine. So that was very exciting. And then Michelle already mentioned the Connecticut Magazine CT Insider feature. What was really cool in the online edition of this is that they had an interactive map of everything in town. So if you haven't seen it online, I put the link here on the bottom, so you could click over and look at that. So it started with Hidden Valley, but it went into like a whole detailed rundown on every place to visit in town. So that was a fun feature. And then it broke down, you know, some of the shops, other parks to visit, Hopkins Inn, other places to eat. The beauty of this, it will be online forever. So this is great. And we always will monitor where traffic is coming from, so we could see which of these do the best. But it, as you said, Michelle, it kind of just keeps spreading. You know, you get picked up, some great images, and then before you know it, someone else is doing a story. So, and we're just doing a quick overview. There are a lot more stories out there, I'm sure. But there's like a little website called Only in Your State, and then they picked up about the Mayflower, and then people wrote really nice comments about their favorite thing to do, like Hickory Stick and Mayflower Inn. And so it's the beauty of this is you get picked up, and then people comment on it and share it with their friends and get even more exposure. And then this is in Yankee Magazine Online. And so this feature about Real Stars Hollow actually focused a lot on New Milford. Like some of them really focus wholly on our town, but some of them focus on New Milford. So this was one that did both, but they have 140,000 Instagram followers. And so it was Yankee Magazine, and NewEngland.com is their online website, their online publication. So this was back in the springtime. And then another blogger wrote, and I wrote gazebo because every time I present, I remind everybody that I think if we had a gazebo in the depot, then a lot of folks, not that I don't want New Milford to get traffic, that's great if people want to visit both towns, but I think that if we had a gazebo, it would make the whole thing change, right? Because they all want that gazebo photo. And also, I think it would be fun for residents. I know, are there any gazebos around town? I don't think I've ever seen one. Yeah, because I know in Newtown, there's a really cute gazebo, and people who live in town sometimes and go have lunch inside the gazebo. So it just is a fun place for people to meet before they do things. So maybe we can find, after the lights are all squared away, maybe we can work on the gazebo project.
We told Zoe at the WBA thing, we were teasing Zoe, you know, that little green area that the pantry maintains,
Right.
that would be a good place.
Yeah.
I think on the side lawn of Town Hall right here would be a good place too. But yeah, I think we should, I'm up for exploring that.
There are people in town, I think, you know, both businesses and just, you know, people who live in town, residents who might think that that would be a nice idea. So, and there, you know, if you don't do a custom one, if you do one like Clotter Farms or one of those companies that have these pre-made, prefab gazebos, it's not super expensive.
Yeah.
Michelle, I can talk to you later, but the Garden Club is looking for a project to give something to the town. So that might be around $25,000 maybe. So
Wow.
next
That's
year.
That would be a neat partnership. You know, we could partner together.
Yeah. It's like for their 125th, 110th anniversary. I mean, it seems crazy for 110, but they want to do it. So, and they have money.
Well,
We have money.
let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, the gazebo would be kind of fit in with the gardeny kind of theme and everything, you know.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, after COVID, when outdoor dining was such a big thing, there were so many times for the last 3 years, all summer, even into the fall, every picnic table we have along the river, out in front of Town Hall at lunchtime, they're all full, right? So I think providing a shaded space you know, if there was either benches or a picnic table underneath in the gazebo where people could have lunch, I think people would be supportive of that. If they realize it's really for the town, it's not just because we're Stars Holly, right?
Right.
People, a lot of the grumbling when it was mentioned years ago was, oh, they weren't, you know, people who weren't super excited about the tourism from Gilmore Girls. But if it's an enhancement for our community so that people can have a nice place to have a lunch, enjoy their lunch, yeah, I think we would have a lot of community support for that. So we can talk. Thanks, Liz.
And that would be beautiful for the garden club to decorate for the seasons. That's such a beautiful way to have a central place in town that everyone enjoys. You know, people who live in town, work in town, or tourism as well. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's idea. Let me just go to the next slide. Oh, and this was a fun pitch in, this was in Pure Wow, which is a really nice online magazine. It's for older women, not teeny boppers. It's like a kind of interesting website, and they did a feature about vineyards near New York City. And they mentioned Hopkins in there. So we were really excited. And they even embedded an Instagram image from Hopkins Vineyard. And they have 2.2 million followers on Instagram. So this was nice. I know that the Hopkins Inn page and Spring Hill, they get a lot of hits on the website. So, and then CT Visit, we always get a lot of traffic from CT Visit. We try to update our landing page, you know, seasonally as early as possible. And, you know, we'll probably do the winter by early next week, just to get people thinking about the holidays that are coming up and visiting. And then we upload photos as well. So we have a really nice presence on the page that we can control. So this part of the page we can control. And then this is the landing part of the landing page for Litchfield County, and I always check every season, and we're always super well represented on the landing page. So to your point, Michelle, about, you know, the imagery that's out there, and it's just making their life easy. Their PR company will pop images in. I'm assuming if they find good images, just like we do the same with our local businesses and nonprofits, we try to find the best images. So yeah, there's always several features when you click on regions, Litchfield County. We always have a really big presence on there, which is great to see. And then usual bunch of mentions throughout. So I guess our last presentation was in April. So we just kept an eye on some more recent ones, as well as other features that we may not have mentioned. They always mention Shag Festival. There was a feature about historic inns that was the Mayflower was mentioned in, and then we went through every tourism category, and Washington is mentioned almost every single category, which is really exciting to see. And then on Discover Litchfield Hills, we continue to publish every story that we publish on the website. We publish it on Discover Litchfield Hills just to get a little extra presence there. So I believe we have about 51 stories on there now. Then on social media, you know, we're seeing really good traction there. So on the left is the number of accounts that are reached by individual posts. So these are some of the highest. You'll see they range from over 2,000 accounts reached to this one. Fran, you'll get a kick out of this. We snapped this shot in front of your store because there was a really cool sports car there, like an old, I don't know what it was, Fiat or something. And it looks so cool. I just snapped a shot of it. I didn't even know if I was going to use it or when I was going to use it. And that got more reach than any of the other posts that we've done since the last time. So it's like, you don't have to obsess about what kind of equipment you have. You just see something beautiful, just snap it, and boom, it takes off. So we were really excited to see that. And of course, the Harvest Festival always does well, hiking, the Mayflower. So, you know, we try to curate, the movie night, that was from Judy Black, that shot. So we just try to curate the social media, sort of understanding what people like to see and what people engage with and what people share with their friends, because a lot of these posts get shared. People write a lot of times, oh, they'll tag a friend and say, oh, we have to go there. Let's go this weekend. So the beauty of that is you get immediate feedback that you can't get from a magazine, because we could see the comments right there. And then this one, it actually got 56 engagements, which was a combination of likes and comments and shares. So that was a good one. That's like the favorite scene downtown in the depot. And then, yeah, this was one of the top shots that I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, it was featured in that Elite Daily, that online blog. And it got really good traction. And it reached over 3,000. It got over 500 likes and shares and comments. But the shares really are great because we can see who's sharing it, who they're sharing it with, and that's really good to be able to track that. And then that kind of informs what we post about, so we do a combination of local community things and also tourism posts. And then the demographics, it's, over 76% women to 23 men. That's on social, which is pretty normal, but that's good because women plan travel, they plan where, shopping, restaurants, and a lot of things. So it's good to see that. But we typically see, which is kind of interesting, whenever we do a guide, like a gift guide or a Valentine's Day guide, it's more men than women sometimes because they need help figuring out what to buy. So it changes, but typically it's more, the majority women browsing on social. And then the interesting thing we noticed this was the last 90 days, New York was higher than Washington in terms of followers, where our followers are, which is kind of interesting. And I know a lot of people have homes in more than one place, but this is the number we like to watch too, because as we get more exposure in the city, we have a big following from New York. And then social media engagement. So we're up to 4,434 followers on Instagram. People are still using the hashtag Explore Washington CT. So there's over 15,000 shares that were done with that hashtag. So what that means is that people are engaged with the website, with the tag, and they're sharing their photos with that. And they get featured on the website, of course. And then Facebook is still growing, but Instagram seems to be more of where people are following us. And then subscribers have risen. We're still way ahead of the industry average for open rate. So the open rate meaning how many people actually open and read the newsletter that we send every month. So 32 is the average percentage for tourism. So we're at 56. So we're more, almost double. And and I explained that Google Analytics is completely different now. So we're going through a learning curve ourselves on this. But so I tried to look at data sets that we reported on in the past so that we could see the health and the direction of the website. So in October alone, we had 39,695 page views. So the previous highest page views in a month was 38.6. So it's higher. So we're just looking at the traffic to the site, it's even higher this October. And fall is always a great time of year for the traffic to the website. But what this shows, it's a different kind of chart now. That spike is the Harvest Festival. So you see there's a spike, like it starts increasing the day before. And this is all organic. So this is people searching and say, when does the Harvest Festival start in Washington? Or, searches relative to that. So you could see that giant peak. And then that's the heart. And the top line, the other top line here is the Gilmore Girls itinerary, which we all know from previous presentations is always the highest, except for seasonally certain events like Holiday in the Depot. fireworks, all the big events will have a huge peak, but the Gilmore Girls just keeps on going. And then this one is showing how people get to the website. So that the top line is the organic search. So what that means is someone's searching something. Yeah, and on October 8th, they were obviously searching the Harvest Festival, but they could be searching anything. And then the next highest is direct. What that means is someone is typing in explorewashingtonct.com, or they're being referred over from the newsletter. So you'll see at the beginning of every month, there's a really large peak because everybody's reading the newsletter, the e-news, and clicking. And then here are some of the top pages visited again. So that's Gilmore Girls, then the homepage, then the events, things to do. And then we have other Gilmore guides that also get a lot of traffic. And then this is what we did is the top 25, just so you could see the top 25 pages. And again, this is from July through October because of that issue with analytics. The first clean month we had was July. So we started July through October. So it's Gilmore Girls, then things to do, food, the restaurant section is 6. So that's pretty good. Shopping is 8. So those are the sections of the website that, we have individual pages for each restaurant and each business, each shop in town. So those are pretty high up too. And then the Harvest Festival makes it to the top 10 places to stay. And then there are a few random blog posts that we've done, nature and outdoor. So it's like a really good cross section of all the content that's on the site. And I'll share this with you so you could drill down. Now, some of the smaller businesses that don't have a huge web presence, they get a lot of traffic, like Marty's, the Poe, and even the Lake Warramug Association. Like we had done a story for them. This was done like 3 years ago, and that still comes up, in the top 20. So the point being that the content lives on and keeps getting found. And then this is the getaway. Okay, so I compared, the last report was a 7-month period. This report is a 4-month period. So I divided up to figure out how many per month. And there was a huge increase per month from the previous Gilmore Girls getaway. So I think it's because a lot of these bloggers are linking directly to that blog post, as well as getting people to search things like, where is the real Stars Hollow? So we're getting a lot of traffic right from that. And then here's some of the top search terms that people are using to get to the site. Of course, Washington CT is the highest. And then Gilmore Girls Town. Can you visit Stars Hollow? Is Stars Hollow a real place? So all these ways, I hope they're doing a lot of shopping when they're in town, because they're our most ardent followers on social and also on the website in terms of hits. But
hey, Julia, will you go back?
Sure.
So just, will you explain the difference between clicks and impressions to me? Because
sure. So clicks are when they actually come through and click to the website. Impressions are on Google. So if someone searches Gilmore Girls, I believe that it means just a hit of Gilmore Girls. Something on our website will come up as part of the Google search over 1 million times. So what it does is our site has very high visibility and also high credibility and lots of links coming to it and going out. So it comes up for so many other things as well, hiking and, food, restaurants, all of that. But in terms of getting tons of impressions from searches, the Gilmore Girls, and because we have it mentioned in so many blog posts and so many, there's that main itinerary, then we do a couple, and we don't have to redo them. Sometimes we just refresh those stories so that it has what's going on and what the latest things are around town. But yeah, so the clicks are when they actually saw the Google results and clicked through to the website. Impressions are just coming up on their screen.
Thank you.
I sure. And then this is the, okay, so we had 2,700 clicks for the Harvest Festival. And yeah, so that's easy to measure. And yeah, so we did an ad for WBA. We worked with Liz and we did a $50 ad and it got 26,000 impressions and reached 25,000 people. So impressions are when it comes up in it comes up in the feed. And 77 people actually clicked over to the event page. And they didn't really have to click to the event page because we included the date and the time and the activities within the ad itself. So a lot of people just got all the information right from the ad. So the reel that we did had 40. Oh, so on the left side, this is actually the organic one we did, which was a reel. So 4,700 people watched that. And that was free. You know, that was not an ad on Instagram and Facebook like this one was. So I think between the combination of the organic, the search, and also the ad results, that, you know, really helps for attendance. And I think I read somewhere there were over 2,500 people who attended. So that's really exciting. Yeah, and then I think that's it. You know, we tried to hit all the bases on the metrics, but next time we'll probably have more metrics because we can span the full duration better with the new analytics. And then, yeah, things we worked on spring and summer since the last, public relations assistance. So when people contacted us and asked for images, and now with the photo contest completed, we have more high-res images, because in the past, the problem has been now and again, we'd get a request for a magazine or even CT Visit when they're putting together a print document or print brochure, or they need high-res images. And the problem in the past is we do okay with the online images, for the resolution is not super high. But now that we did the photo contest, we have so much more to work with. Plus, it was just a great thing to get a lot of talented photographers involved and sharing their beautiful photography. So next steps, holiday shopping. I'll add to that the map of the lights that we talked about for next week. Winter experiences, promoting events, spring marketing, and then continue doing assistance for public relations and metrics, of course. So, any questions?
Thank you,
Is
Julie.
there any kind of data on how much time people spend on the website?
Yes, I believe one of the slides probably had that. Let me just check back. Engagement time. So it depends. Like the Gilmore Girls, this one was 37 seconds. A lot of them are a minute.
Mhm.
I can gather some of that, but most of them, I think the average is about a minute.
No,
So if it's a blog post, then let's see if there are any more.
more.
Yeah, no. If it's a blog post, they usually take about a minute to read it, or a minute and a half.
Mhm.
If it's an event, they're just checking the date or the time or the location. Usually it's just 20 seconds, 15 seconds. So it ranges.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And that would be the time spent on that one entity, that one article or that one event. But a lot of times people are browsing through. But as I said, you know, the new Google Analytics, everyone's complaining about it because we lost a lot of reporting types that we used to have, specifically regional. We used to be able to just call up the map of the US, click on Connecticut, click on New York, and it would show you pinpoints of where people are viewing from.
Yeah.
That is not there anymore, which has everybody in an uproar. So we're learning other ways. There may be other apps we can use to try to find those data sets again. But yeah, by all means, we can drill down to that kind of thing. But yeah, pretty good time spent. on the articles. And like, as I said, what they call the bounce rate, if it's a high bounce rate, it means someone clicked on something and sort of went off within a few seconds. So those are usually more for event posts that they're just checking a time or something like that.
Great.
Okay.
I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying, Julia, about the images. The contest brought us a whole bunch of great images, which was wonderful. But we can always, it was interesting because it was Washington through the seasons. We were looking for quintessential Washington pictures, and we got lots of scenic type stuff, but like people and events and stores and stuff like that, we didn't get as many of in the photo contest. So if you're ever out and about, take a picture. If it's at all decent, share it, send it to Julia. I am notoriously terrible about remembering to bring my camera, but I'm trying to be better. And Kristen is a wonderful photographer. She had quite a few photos.
Oh, yes, that's right. I remember.
Yeah. So
it's all making sense now. The names are I can place with the face. So that's terrific.
She's about to leave town, and we're not going to see her in person for a while. But when you get back, you make sure you get your camera out and help us document.
I think you're muted.
I felt like there was one other. Let's see, images. Oh, I didn't have any other questions. Anybody else? No? Thank you so much, Julia. You guys just great work. The fact that we're such a tiny town and we are all over CT Visit is amazing. And it just shows you, I mean, you know, they spend a lot of money to push those ads out, but I don't know what their internal staff is. So they're clearly grabbing from Explore and any kind of social media, like Julia said, to make their job easier instead of driving out here. So and that's another thing that the WBA can make sure they get out to their businesses. Take good pictures and get them on Instagram, because they will get picked up if that's what somebody is looking for, you know. And as we were talking before the meeting started, and Liz is changing over her windows, you know, trying to be a season ahead, because well, not a whole season, obviously, for yourselves, but a little bit ahead, because, you know, they're creating their stuff, just like you guys are. You stores are purchasing your winter stuff, and I don't know, probably the summer, but anyway, they're pre-planning what they're going to do. So having that image is really important in getting those eyeballs. And I think Liz, you weren't here last month, Julia, but Liz shared about the Harvest Fest, but also just the numbers she's seeing. And I just feel like the Gilmore Girls visitors, it just continues to increase. I see them taking pictures in front of Town Hall, reading the sign in the depot. And I'm constantly walking up to them with our guidebook. You can tell they're a visitor. They're taking a picture in front of the Town Hall or in front of the sign. And it's great, because I just did that yesterday, I think. And they said, oh, we got one at the store already. So the fact that stores are giving out the guidebooks so that they can find the other places in town. So
and when you do write to members, you know what kind of pictures we get asked for, and it's kind of challenging in town, but sometimes CT Visit does reach out directly. Downtown scenes, okay? So it's hard in the depot because a lot of the shops have cars parked out in front, but they're always looking for, you know, weekend shopping, holiday shopping, you know, so anything to do with window displays, you know, we've always even been challenged, New Preston, with the cars in front. It's hard to get that scene, as well as in the depot. It's hard to get that good shot. That's why a lot of times Litchfield gets featured, or Essex, because they have this series of shops. I just think it's, a challenge to set up those shots. But if anybody snaps those, by all means share them and we'll get it out there, because shopping is a big deal, especially this time of year. But we'll also come up and take pictures around town. I think New Preston is doing their windows now, so we'll try to
Okay.
get them.
So Julia, just out of curiosity, because I feel like if you come pretty early in the morning, you can get all the shops without the cars. But there are also then no people. What's
Right.
sort of the sweet spot of what makes a good photo? Is it
Yeah, like a couple of people in a looking in a window, or a person looking in the window, that's very engaging to see someone walking down the street. And again, it's hard because of the layout. But I think it's doable. Like maybe in front of Five Janes or by the bookstore. Like there are areas that we could try to capture better. And
Julia, do you need permission from the people in the picture?
we try to do from behind or from the
There you go.
side, so you don't, if we're doing, like the first video we did when we launched the website, and we have a couple of women window shopping up in New Preston, and we did ask them, and we actually had a release form at the time because we knew that we were going to include them in a video. But for just a quick snapshot, if we try from behind, and people or we stage it, we ask somebody to come out from a store and just pretend that they're looking in the window. But yeah, but that's one area. Like we have the beautiful hiking, we have pretty good restaurant photos, not fabulous. Like I know for the White Horse, we always use the same outdoor scene over and over. I think we need to spend a day in town and just stage these shots so that we have an arsenal of them. But now we're completely covered with all the beautiful nature shots that the photographers provided in the contest. We have forever, we're set with those. So that's great.
so much nature? I think we should have an EDC meeting where we're going to maybe we do like 2 restaurants and we stage it and we're eating and we get some pictures, right? Maybe that would be a good like once in the winter and once in the summer, get some outdoor
Yeah.
dining.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
As well, right?
Anyway, thanks for your time. I know it's a crazy busy week, so I'm glad. And Michelle, I'll send this over to you.
Oh, great, because I always post it. And if anybody is ever curious, all of the metrics presentations that Julia has done are posted on the website. So you can go all the way back to the inception, which I was looking 2018, 19? Do you remember?
I think it's 2018.
I feel like it's 2018. I'm not positive.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Julia. Really
You're
appreciate
welcome.
Thank you,
all of
Julia.
that.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Have a great holiday.
Oh yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Run to the grocery store. Thanks, Michelle. Bye-bye.
Sure, thanks, Julia. Before we officially adjourn, Jim's not here because he had to attend that other meeting. But Fran, did you or Liz, you're both here. Do you want to report anything from the WBA?
I don't know, Fran. We have the sign up for it's on the WBA website, and then hopefully it'll be included in Jim's letter. But the sign up for anybody who wants to sign up for Holiday in the Depot. It works really well for ones that don't have a storefront. For in-town businesses
Right. Good.
or organizations.
I would also mention the WBA social was that just last week? I don't
It
know.
was.
Yeah. And which was nice. It was good to see some people. I feel like there's been better or larger attendance at other times, and I don't know if it was the time of year or people forgot, but it's the pre-COVID attendance was a lot more. Like we've kind of lost some momentum, I think, and it'll be nice to maybe try to pick
Yes.
that up again.
Yeah, that's the plan. We've got a plan going forward for the next year, and getting other folks involved, and we're pretty excited about it.
Great. That's great. Yeah, so Holiday in the Depot, everyone, December 8th, second Friday? First Friday, second
Mm.
Friday, I guess that would be the second Friday.
Second.
Yep. EDC, this is the one time we don't set up a table collecting emails and such, because it is an outdoor event. It is chilly. People are chatting and drinking and visiting, and it doesn't lend itself well for gathering emails. So yeah, the WBA and Parks and Rec really work hard to put that one together, and we just support it through communication, pretty much. Hey Liz, are you on the committee for that? Have you heard do you know what the deal is with the luminaries? That was the one thing I used to help with.
We decided to nix it
That's what I
because it
thought.
was a lot of work, and really we tried it so many different ways with so many different lights in them. And unless you do a real candle, they don't look great. And it's
Yeah.
a lot of work for not looking great.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I was contacted by Rumsey again because the students helped me with that the last couple of years, which was fantastic. On the putting out, the collecting, not as much. That was us. But I wonder if there's any value in the one thing that I thought was nice are where the white bags just right down the 47 to kind of slow the traffic so people knew that there was something going on. It doesn't really add a lot of light, but you see it. I think the policemen are there stopping stuff. I don't know. If you guys decided not to do it, that's great. I'll just let Rumsey know.
Yeah, maybe, maybe down the road we might revisit it. But it just didn't look as great as we wanted it to.
Yeah. I think I mentioned last year too that the library had mentioned that we could borrow, as long as we used our own candles, we could borrow their they have the weighted inserts, so we wouldn't be dealing with all that sand that they store. I forget if they bought polyethylene bags as well, so that those were reusable. That might be anyway. So we could talk about that down the future, but we can skip it for this year and see what people think. Any other questions, reports, things you think we should visit for next time? I did forget to mention for the newsletter that I did put in a shop local article. Fran, I kept trying to find the information. What was it? I finally figured out you used an acronym. I didn't know what it was. I finally figured out it was like booksellers or something, Amoeba or something you said.
It was, well, Amoeba is it's not a bookseller organization. It's American something Independent Business Alliance.
Oh, Business Alliance, but it
Um,
seemed like the independent bookstores were heavily represented.
Yeah, but that's true. That's true. They always have been. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I Googled, I used ChatGPT trying to find the stats that you were talking about for the
Well,
dollar.
yeah. There's and I had said I would look too, and I did briefly, but didn't find what I was looking for. But are you still doing something in terms of, I mean, I know you've done the article, but are you planning to do anything else?
It's good information to have. I looked.
Yeah, I'll see what I can come up with. I mean, there is another source that I didn't go to at that point. And at one point, what we started with when we started doing it was the 350 project, but I'm not even sure that really is in existence any longer. But there are updated statistics that I'll send you,
That'd be
or
great.
a source for them.
So I searched for the statistics. I included what I could find. I also did include the sustainability component in there, as well as the supporting your
Good.
community and stuff. So it was a little bit of both. Yeah, so that was in there. I think that's it. I have nothing else to share. So I have, I guess, a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion, seconded.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you all for being here. Let's see, where are we? 4:20. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Safe travels to those of you traveling.
Thanks.
Yeah, right. I hope it's not too much of a headache. And hope to see you all next month.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.